protesting the money that Senator Joe Manchin has made off of the plant while local West Virginians suffer the toxic consequences. And joining me now, Stewart Acuff, a member of the Poor People's Campaign in West Virginia and former national organizing director for the AFL-CIO. Mr. Acuff, thank you so much for being here. Talk about that protest. How long have you all been protesting and why?
Thank you so much, Joy. It's great to be with you. Folks have been calling for a new relationship with Earth and the climate in West Virginia for a long time. It's really accelerated in the last year because of President Biden's initiatives and because of the activity of folks who understand we have to have a different relationship with the Earth if humanity is going to survive. So for the last year, we've really stepped it up with as much grassroots pressure as we can put on Joe Manchin, and now calling on him to sever those personal ties which taint his thinking, which corrupt his actions, and which influence his decisions. That coal that he sells that plant is toxic coal. It's not coal mined from the ground. It's coal they've picked up at the mouth of other mines and sold it there. And making a ton of money off of it. And even beyond that, beyond its poisonous to the people in that community, and beyond what it has not done to lift their living standards, because the poverty there is very desperate. But that connection to that direct connection to the fossil fuel industry that Manchin has now opened the doors for him to ally himself with the Koch brothers. It's allowed him to become the chairman of the Senate Energy Commission, which is probably one of the most dangerous things that could happen. And it's allowed him to make a fortune for himself and his family.
You know, and meanwhile,
we're also fighting Joe Manchin over a toxic insulation factory in the Eastern Panhandle called Rockwool. We've had not only those demonstrations at the Granttown Power Plant, but in the Eastern Panhandle, Jefferson and Berkeley County, we had a 23-mile, 4-day march involving hundreds of West Virginians calling on Manchin and the governor to use their weight to relieve us of this toxic insulation factory that after 7 months has already admitted to 11 times that they violated their air permit. That's already releasing toxic liquid waste, toxic water with 400% of the aluminum in it of bedrock levels, 400% more aluminum in it than it is supposed to have. That is a quarter of a mile from a Title I school, one of our most diverse, and with over 50% of its students disadvantaged. It is environmental racism, sponsored by Joe Manchin and Jim Justice, and visited on the people of West Virginia. And whether you're white or black or native or brown, it affects all of it. And it is these kind. I'm trying to get a lot of information in.
Please do.
I really appreciate you. This is how, if we're going to win this climate fight, we will win it with local struggles like this, with regular folks like us, fighting what our kids are breathing, what is sending our kids to the hospital with asthma attacks. I was with a man today, 7 years ago. He had a double lung transplant. What do you think he feels like living in the same county as a factory that burns natural gas and coal to melt rock into building insulation?
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, sir, it is very educational, I think, for our audience to learn what's happening in West Virginia. And Manchin claims that this is what West Virginians want. But West Virginia ranks 50th in infrastructure, 49th in cancer mortality, 48th in the economy, 47th in health care. And Manchin ain't helping. I want to thank you, Stewart Acuff. Thank you so much for all that you do.
We'll see you June 18th with the Poor People's Campaign.
All right. I will be there. I will be there. And that is tonight's ReidOut. Thank you, sir.